Picture this. You're standing at Miami Airport with your valid passport, your approved visa, and your return ticket home. You've made this trip countless times before. But today, the immigration officer looks at you and says three devastating words. Entry denied. Next. This is the reality facing hundreds of Bahamians in 2025. Legal travelers. Legitimate visitors. Good people with proper documentation. All being turned away at America's doorstep. What's behind this sudden crackdown? Why are our Caribbean neighbors suddenly persona non grata? And most importantly, what does this mean for every Bahamian planning to cross that border? Buckle up, because we're about to uncover a story that's reshaping Caribbean-American relations. One rejection at a time. Section 1. The Caribbean Crisis Unfolds. Just 6 months ago, traveling from Nassau to Miami felt as routine as catching a taxi downtown. Bahamians have been making these short hops for decades. Weekend shopping trips, medical appointments, family visits, business meetings. But somewhere between January and July 2025, the game changed completely. Reports started flooding social media. Local news picked up the stories. WhatsApp groups buzzed with warnings and first-hand accounts. My cousin got sent back from Orlando, no explanation given. They canceled my sister's visa right at the airport counter. 3-hour interrogation for a 2-day shopping trip. What started as isolated incidents quickly became a disturbing pattern. Bahamians with clean records, steady jobs, and strong community ties were being treated like security threats. The Caribbean travel corridor that had operated smoothly for generations was suddenly under siege. Section 2. The policy shift behind closed doors. Here's what's really happening behind those immigration desks. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security has quietly implemented what insiders call enhanced vetting protocols for Caribbean nationals. The numbers tell the story. According to internal DHS data, Bahamian visa overstay rates have climbed to nearly 5% over the past 24 months, significantly above the international benchmark that triggers additional scrutiny. But the real trigger? A perfect storm of policy pressures. Rising concerns about undocumented migration through Florida's coastline. Increased focus on economic migration from small island nations. Political pressure for stricter enforcement across all entry points, not just the Mexican border. The result is a bureaucratic nightmare where legitimate travelers get caught in nets designed for genuine security threats. Your grandmother visiting her grandchildren in Miami gets the same treatment as someone attempting illegal entry. It's collective punishment disguised as border security. Section 3. Voices from the rejection line. Let me share some voices from the front lines of this crisis. Lisa, a 32-year-old accountant from Nassau, describes her experience at Fort Lauderdale. I had everything. Bank statements, employment letter, hotel confirmation. They kept asking the same questions over and over. Why are you really here? Who's paying for this trip? Like I was lying about a simple vacation. Then there's Michael, a college student with a full scholarship to a Florida university. They told me my student visa was under review and put me on the next flight home. I missed orientation. I missed my chance. But perhaps the most heartbreaking story comes from Patricia, a grandmother who's been visiting her family in Jacksonville for 15 years. The officer looked at me like I was a criminal. 15 years of clean entries, and suddenly I'm a flight risk? I felt so humiliated, so small. These aren't statistics. These are human beings with dignity, dreams, and legitimate reasons to travel. Section 4. Inside the screening process. So what exactly are immigration officers looking for? Internal training documents reveal a risk assessment matrix that would surprise most travelers. They're evaluating your age, your employment status, self-employed individuals are red flagged, your travel patterns, frequent short trips raise suspicion, and even your social media presence. Here's the catch. Having an approved visa from the U.S. Embassy in Nassau means absolutely nothing at the port of entry. That visa is merely permission to request entry, not a guarantee of admission. Section 5. The erosion of a historic partnership. This isn't just about travel inconvenience. We're witnessing the breakdown of a relationship that goes back decades. The Bahamas and the United States have been natural partners, geographic neighbors, economic allies, cultural cousins. More than 120,000 Bahamians call America home. Thousands more work on cruise ships, in resorts, in hospitals across the U.S. For generations, crossing that border felt like visiting an extended family member. Bahamians were welcomed as peaceful neighbors, reliable workers, and respectful visitors. But in 2025, that trust is evaporating. The message being sent is clear. You are no longer welcome. Your documents don't matter. Your history doesn't count. Your word isn't enough. This represents a fundamental shift in how America views its Caribbean neighbors, from allies to potential threats. Section 6. The generation under siege. The cruelest impact falls on Bahamian youth, the generation that should be building bridges, not watching them burn. Talented students are losing university opportunities. Young professionals can't attend career conferences. Artists and athletes are missing life-changing competitions, all because of policies that judge them by their passport color rather than their character. Imagine being told that despite your talent, your education, your dreams, you're simply not trustworthy enough to cross a border, that your nationality makes you a liability. This isn't just about individual disappointment. We're watching the systematic exclusion of an entire generation from opportunities their parents took for granted. It's not just unfair, it's short-sighted. America is pushing away the very people who could strengthen ties between our nations. Section 7. Politics, Policy, and Power Plays. Let's address the elephant in the room. Is this political? Some foreign policy experts argue this is strategic pressure, using immigration policy to leverage trade agreements, security partnerships, or regional cooperation deals. Others insist it's simply bureaucratic overreach, immigration officers interpreting broad policies too aggressively, creating unintended consequences. But here's what we know for certain. This isn't isolated to the Bahamas. Similar patterns are emerging across Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, and other Caribbean nations. This suggests systematic policy implementation, not random bureaucratic mistakes. When multiple Caribbean nations experience identical treatment simultaneously, that's coordination, not coincidence. The question isn't whether this is political. The question is, what's the end game? Section 8, Survival Strategies for 2020. If you're planning U.S. travel in 2020, so it's 2024, here's your survival guide. First, over-prepare. Bring employment verification, property ownership documents, family ties proof, and financial statements. Assume they'll question everything. Second, answer directly and confidently. Hesitation triggers suspicion. Inconsistencies trigger interrogation. Practice your story until it's seamless. Third, document everything. If you're rejected, get written reasons. Take photos of your documents. Record officer badge numbers. Evidence matters for appeals. Fourth, know your alternatives. Canada offers visa-free entry for Bahamians. The UK maintains strong ties. Latin American and European destinations are welcoming Caribbean travelers with open arms. Don't let one country's policies limit your global potential. The world is bigger than one border crossing. To every Bahamian who's experienced this rejection, who's felt this humiliation, who's questioned their worth, hear this clearly. Your value isn't determined by an immigration officer's decision. Your dignity isn't defined by a visa stamp. Your dreams don't end at America's border. This moment in history is testing our resilience, our unity, and our resolve. But Bahamians have weathered storms before. We've overcome challenges that seemed insurmountable. So let's stand tall. Let's travel proud. Let's explore new horizons and build new bridges. The world is watching our response to this adversity. And when history judges this moment, let it show that Bahamians rose above the barriers placed before us and soared even higher. See? Travel disasters happen to the best of us. The key isn't avoiding them. It's laughing through them and turning those epic fails into epic tales. Share your own travel horror stories in the comments below. Let's build a support group of adventurous survivors. Subscribe for more travel chaos. Like if you've survived similar madness, then remember, the best adventures are the ones that go completely wrong. Keep chuckling.